Welcome to Seeking Alpha's CEO Interviews. Quality of leadership is a decisive factor in stock performance, so we provide in-depth interviews with the best and brightest CEOs in the public markets. We publish limited excerpts from our interviews on social media platforms and the full interviews at seekingalpha.com and in the highly rated Seeking Alpha mobile app. To find the full interviews, open seekingalpha.com or the Seeking Alpha mobile app and search for the phrase CEO Interviews, or simply type a stock ticker into the search box. Kevin, welcome to CEO Interviews. Welcome to Seeking Alpha. Super happy to have you on the show, so thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Reen. It's great to be with you today.
So talk to investors, catch viewers up on Hayward and where they play in the pool segment, also in the broader marketplace, and what you guys are bringing to the sector.
Sure, yeah. Exciting time for us being a relatively new listee. Hayward is a pure play. We are a pool equipment manufacturer. We're full line, everything that you need to operate your pool, whether it's a commercial pool, a residential pool. We've got all the equipment needed for pumps, filters, cleaners, you name it, we have it. We've been doing this for decades. We're a 95-year-old company, really focused purely on the pool market for about the last 50 or so. So this is a business we're committed to and a business that we know very well. Strong brand, market's most trusted and most revered. So, it's a great company that we're with, great products, focusing really on innovation and connectivity for the pool owners.
So it's nearly 100 years old, which is impressive, given the state of the world that we're in for anything to be around that long. But you came on only a couple years ago, and as you mentioned, you're recently public just this year. At the beginning of this year, Hayward went public. I'm interested in what brought you to Hayward, what you were looking for there in that role as CEO for Hayward, and also why now was the time to go public. And also if that was the plan always, kind of when you came on board to bring it public.
Yeah, so I've been on board now about 20 months or so just under 2 years. What really attracted me was the strength of this brand and really the market dynamics. It's a great branded industrial business with great consumer appeal, the growth trajectory, really around this broader secular trend of outdoor living investment is really powerful, and it's something that we're a main player in. Folks are investing in the backyard. People are moving out of the cities, they're moving into the suburbs, they're moving south. The baby boomers are investing, the millennials are investing in this outdoor living, and the pool is really the centerpiece of that outdoor living investment. And with the strength of our brand, we stand to benefit from that. As for the public, the decision to go public, this was really a decision based upon the strength of the market now. We really felt that by getting into the public market, it would increase our financial flexibilities and be able to make incremental investments and become an even bigger, better supplier to this growing industry that we're a part of.
And talk to me a little bit about the customer that you serve, because it's mostly not the retail customer that you're selling to. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, we actually, I think one of the strengths of our business is that there are multiple channels to the marketplace. So the primary market is through distribution, but we do sell direct to large retailers. We sell direct to some national builders, and we're very active in the e-commerce side because there is equipment that is procured through the e-commerce channel. So I think that's a real strength that Hayward has, is that you can find us really regardless of where you're going to source the product, whether it's from a builder or a servicer, or if you go into a retail store, or you can find us online. That's really our sales and distribution strategy.
So I know that you guys just released earnings yesterday and some nice earnings. So I think it reflects a little bit of the answer to the question I'm about to ask you. But I'm curious specifically about how COVID is affecting the outdoor living spaces, because on one hand, I think to myself, people are lowering expenses. People don't have as much money because of COVID. On the other hand, people have never been at home more. People have never been investing more in their living spaces. So it kind of seems to me that almost outweighs the first part of it. And it would also seem to me that the people that are spending money on pools are not as concerned about how COVID affected them financially. What's your thoughts there, and what's your experience on how that's affected things?
I think you framed the question very well. The way we look at it is COVID has really been an accelerator. I think it's been a bit of an advertisement, frankly, for the benefits of outdoor investment. As you said, people are home more than they ever have been. And with that, working from home and schooling their kids from home, they're looking at what they have there at the home. And so many people are looking out the back window, wanting to be outside, leading a healthier lifestyle, getting that recreation. And frankly, that's what a pool and what Hayward offers to those residential homeowners. So I think it's actually been a great advertisement for outdoor living and for the Hayward brand. But frankly, even pre-COVID, this trend has been in place for years running. It's hit the headlines more through the COVID experience, but this investment in outdoor living, in pools, outdoor kitchens, you name it, that's been going on for many, many years. But it's just more in the headlines now. It's getting more advertisement. It's being talked about more during this COVID era.
Yeah, I think that's true. It seems like everybody has a pizza oven outside at this point, like everybody makes their own pizza in the backyard. It does seem like that's a trend that's been setting for quite some time. So speaking of recent earnings and also going public, this is your first report since going public. How do you feel about the earnings report? Is it where you want it to be? And kind of where do you see the growth? Because there's a lot of growth expressed in that report. How do you see it growing or expanding from where it is right now?
Yeah, I really couldn't be happier and more proud of the organization's response to this great demand. What we spoke about earlier is creating massive interest in the backyard and in Hayward product. But I believe our organization did a fabulous job of securing the orders is the first part of it, building it and getting the material and being able to ramp production, is really the second part. And that is the challenge that our industry has right now with so much demand. So I think we really flexed our muscle in Q1, exhibiting our agile manufacturing capabilities, our partnerships with our supply chain, and we, 96% growth year on year is just a fascinating number. But we're not done. We need to continue ramping production because the demand out there is very real. It's there, and our customers and our dealers need more from us. So we're anxious to answer the call there and continue pushing harder.
So what are some of the ways that you're pushing harder? Is it new products that you're bringing to market? Is it a different strategy? What are some of the things that you're implementing? Or is it a matter of kind of being public and establishing what you've brought to the marketplace, kind of growing that side of things?
Yeah, new product development is core to what we do. And really, we're focused in a couple key areas. Environmental sustainability is something that is paramount in our development activities, really around three key areas: energy efficiency, water conservation, and just the reduction of chemicals, however possible. Really, on top of that, what we're finding is the homeowners are really interested, like in every other part of their life, they're interested in having that smart control over their backyard. And with our market-leading Omni app, highest rated on both Google and Apple, I think we're actually helping to demystify the operation of that, whether it's setting your water temperature or turning your light shows on. These are really what we're focused on and what we're bringing to the marketplace. So, lots of excitement. We've had some great product launches over the last 12 months, more specifically over the last 6, that are really resonating well. And our biggest challenge now is to be able to ramp production as we beat our initial forecasts on some of these new product launches.
So that product that you're mentioning, does that mean that it gets rid of the need to have a pool person there tending to all of those things?
Well, no, the servicer, I think, still has a role in this. What I'm really referring to is, some of this functionality that the homeowner wants. Frankly, in the past, they've been nervous to go around the hedge or, on the other side of the fence to start changing settings. But now with a simple Omni app, you can actually turn on your lights, you can control your water features, your spa temperature, what time you want sanitization to occur. So there's still a role for the service provider to actually come in and oversee all of that and to tend to the equipment. But in terms of giving the homeowner functionality and control over the backyard, that's really what the Omni app is all about.
And those kinds of innovations, those are coming from in-house?
They are, yeah, yeah. We have a great R&D team, great product management team. This is really what we do. I mean, we are a product company first and foremost. Got a great brand that folks have high expectations for what our brand represents. But we're a product company. It's our lifeblood, and that's our top priority. Beyond safety of our employees, that is our top priority to the outside market.
Do you feel like in your previous roles before coming on to Hayward that there's something that you felt like you wanted to bring in your leadership role at Hayward that you've since kind of evolved in your position, or do you feel like it's something that still leads you to this day? And kind of what is that, and if it's changed at all because of the sector that you're in?
Yeah, I mean, what I've really focused on in my career, worked with some great companies, some great brands, is really that combination of getting the mix right around, building the brand, making sure that your product development reinforces what the market, what your brand promise is, and mixing with that, what kind of products are you going to birth and bring to the marketplace. And then thirdly, which is just very exciting for me, are these multiple channels to the marketplace. Inherently, that creates some conflict with multiple channels, but I think getting that mix right and managing some of that conflict to make sure that Hayward product is actually represented in all the different channels that folks look to secure product. That's exciting. That's what I've made a career out of. And that's really what my focus is coming in the door now about 20 months ago.
So how do you feel like that's best served, kind of working from all those channels? What do you think is most important in getting those working well together and in concert with each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately the strength, of our company is really the customer service that we offer to our dealers. And, dealers by definition in our world are all those service providers and all those builders who work in the backyard. Ultimately, they're the ones who actually represent and put their confidence in the Hayward brand day in and day out. We want to make sure that we don't ever violate that confidence or have them question, the confidence they place. They're staking their reputation, the company's name on our products, the reliability and whatnot. And that's really kind of the overarching mission that we have, is to make sure that we're serving them as they're serving us.
So kind of thinking always about the end customer, even if you're talking about a wholesale approach, to always know where this equipment, where these innovations are going.
Absolutely. The wholesale channel has a great role for us. I mean, they have these really relationships on the ground, and they get the inventory one step closer to its ultimate point of sale or point of use. So, we really look at our distribution as more of a partnership than really an end customer. They would even say the same thing, that, they ultimately exist to be able to sell product into the ultimate end sale. So really, we're constantly looking sort of on the other side of the distribution. That's ultimately the customer is installing product in the backyard. And then from there, we're looking to make sure that we have some connectivity with the homeowner to make sure there's some brand loyalty. That's what I think. I didn't mention it earlier, but I think that's one of the great benefits of this Omni app. Is before that app existed, very few homeowners knew what brand of equipment they actually had on the other side of the fence operating the pool. Now, to be able to launch the app, a couple times a week to turn lights on, they actually know Hayward product is in the backyard, and that creates great stickiness for us going into the future. This is really an aftermarket business. I mean, the new construction gets lots of attention, but frankly, it gets, and we love it. I mean, because it actually builds the installed base. But ultimately, our business is really more of an aftermarket. As people upgrade, as people repair and replace, that's 75% of our revenue. 25% on an annual basis is from new installs, and we want that business because it gives us that shot in the arm right now. But more so, once it's on the pad and stuff needs to be replaced 8-10 years later, we would hope that our brand served them well and they come back and continue to place confidence in Hayward product when it needs replacement or it needs upgrading.
And I would say, aside from, kind of having a strong culture and a strong customer service approach, it also, it obviously, no strategy does anything meaningful without the financials to kind of be able to implement those strategies. Was that something that attracted you to Hayward, or was there a certain ethos that you brought to Hayward that you felt like you wanted to kind of bring something in regards to building even stronger financials?
The financials can always get better, but Rena, I got to tell you, I've been around a number of businesses in my career. This is a very, very strong business financially. Top line growth has been great. Margins are strong. It's a very well structured industry. The OEMs, so Hayward makes money. The distributors make money. The builders and distributors make money. Now, that makes it sound like the homeowner may be, paying a lot, but in the end, pool equipment is really very affordable. I mean, the installation of a pool is very affordable. You can put an in-ground pool in for $25,000 to $30,000, and the equipment to run it only costs about $10,000 of that entry fee. So, but the margins are very, very good, and when we're able to actually expand capacity, really on a variable basis, our conversion or leverage on that incremental volume, passing through the bottom line is great, and it was reflected in our Q1 earnings here. We grew almost 100% year on year, but our adjusted EBITDA grew 200%. So 3 times what it actually was this time last year. So the company is performing very well. We have great cash conversion, free cash flow. So very proud of the business. Can we do more? Of course, we're going to do more. That's what that's our role to our shareholders. But we're at a great starting point as a new public company.
And to build that, it's really less of a strategy in terms of how to maneuver financials and more about increasing innovation, increasing product lines, those types of things.
That's right. I mean, top line, we've got the building blocks there. Like I said, $1 worth of incremental revenue converts to the bottom line at very healthy margins. So this is about a top line story, growing the pie. And that really is how we view it. I mean, we want to work hand in hand with our industry peers in growing this pie and continuing to market the advantages and benefits of having a pool in the backyard. From there, we believe that our service and our innovation will continue to allow us to take a bigger slice of that pie. But we're really interested in growing the overall and letting the strengths of Hayward speak for themselves as that pie is increasing and more pools are put in the backyard.
And also, it includes indoor pools too, right?
Yeah, we're full line. So we're everything kind of at the top end. Largest pools, commercial pools, to residential backyard. In-ground pools, whether that's a gunite or concrete or vinyl or fiberglass. Even including above ground pools. We actually are a full line supplier to really any kind of swimming pool. Whether it's commercial or residential, we're full line and we serve them all.
I was going to say, are you seeing an increase or hearing of an increase in like urban areas, people building pools that didn't used to build pools there because of kind of the effects of COVID? And also what we were saying before, which is an increased investment in home and living spaces.
Yeah, we're seeing not so much new construction on the commercial side, but we're seeing the pools that really never opened in 2020 with plans to open in 2021. So that's great from a business standpoint, but more so just from a society standpoint. Get folks back out in the fresh air, getting some exercise in the pool, is something that we as a society or across the globe really missed in 2020. We need to get back to that. and anxious for that for those pools to open back up again here in 2021.
Was there a thought process like when going public in January, thinking to yourselves, this might not be the best time to go public because who knows what's going to be with COVID? Or were you kind of, pretty certain of what's happening now, which is kind of a slow rollout of things opening up?
I think we were pretty committed to it. I mean, sure, there's, before we decided to actually go here, we looked at the pros and cons. And in the end, the pros, the positives to going public far outweighed what some of the risk factors may have been. So very, very pleased with the market response to us going public. And yesterday was a great day. I think like most new listees, on the road show, there was excitement, but there's always this, show me, let's see the results. And, I think we showed a lot of people yesterday, what the strength of this business is, and really what the overarching market strength is that we're obviously helping to drive and benefit from at the same time.
And do you think about, as CEO, how that drives share price, or how that drives, investor interest in the stock? Or are you concentrated on kind of the fundamentals and the rest you can't really control anyways?
No, I mean, I can't necessarily control what people are willing to pay for a share of our stock. We just kind of keep to our knittings, and we continue to look at driving top line, making sure we convert it, and that we're throwing off great cash that allows us to continue to reinvest both organically and through some mergers and acquisitions, inorganically, as we call it. So that's really what we tend to, and we believe if we keep posting up results in quarters to come, the share price is going to reflect the strength of this business.
And any M&A, are you looking at the sector, or do you look at outside sectors that can help develop products or different innovations? How do you approach that part of things?
Yeah, Hayward actually has a long, proud history of being kind of a platform business where we've made some acquisitions and had successful integrations. It's going to continue to be a core part of our future. Of course, couldn't mention if there was anything close right now, but we have a great process, and it really focuses around, I'd say, a couple different areas. I mean, we're always interested in some technology, something that kind of lifts our brand and our product from an innovation and a technology standpoint. I mean, but we are a pool company. As I said, we're a pure play, so we're always interested in what kind of tuck-ins may strengthen our presence on the pool pad, as we call it. That's where all the equipment is staged, or in and around the pool. But we're starting to look a little bit broader to say, all right, we're a dominant brand in the backyard. What else might we be able to bring some capability or some synergy to in the backyard? And I think I'll go back again to this Omni app. We would love for the Omni app to really be the smart device that homeowners turn to for running their homes outside the four walls. So, is there opportunities to kind of loop in maybe irrigation or security systems or landscape lighting, kind of things that kind of build out that whole outdoor living area. So that's what's driving some of our vision and some of our interest as we look to the M&A areas.
And then some of the things, like speaking of the states, kind of before I get to the states question, is there also an interest in broadening internationally?
Sure. Yeah, it's a growth area. I mean, as you look at our presence, our share of market in North America, US and Canada specifically, is very different than it is internationally. Large markets like Middle East, Europe, Australia, they're not one and the same. So we do have growth ambitions outside of North America. And there's two ways of doing that, organically and inorganically. What we found is Europe and Middle East is a little bit more fragmented. from an OEM, from a supplier standpoint. So, there is an opportunity to maybe look at a bolt-on here or there, which not only brings us product capability, but also strengthens our presence in a particular region of Europe or the Middle East. So that certainly is, I probably should have mentioned that when I was talking M&A just a moment ago, but that certainly does, that is another factor in our M&A considerations.
So speaking to the states specifically, there's some issues, kind of regulatory issues and issues, that have nothing to do with Hayward, but that are going to affect the pool industry. One of them being the chlorine shortage. What are your thoughts on that, and how it affects business?
Sure. Yeah. It's an unfortunate event when that manufacturing facility was leveled by Hurricane Laura back in late August. We literally started moving within 24 hours to help be part of the solution for that. We actually make product in our Rhode Island facility. That's an alternate form of sanitization, salt chlorine generators we build up there. So we knew that there was going to be a shortage. There was probably going to be an escalation in price with that shortage. And we started moving very quickly to set up another assembly line, work with our supply partners to start securing material to really start ramping production. It's getting more headlines now, but frankly, we've been working on this now for 6 or 8 months to get ready for this. So we think that we have great alternatives. Salt, frankly, is, I believe, a better form of sanitizing your pool. It's more natural, less harsh chemicals, and it's just a better swimming experience. You're actually swimming in basically a water softener, with salt. We have another product actually called HAYW, which is a new product. We launched this in Q4 of last year. What this is it's a UV, it's a combination UV and ozone product. So when paired with any form of chlorination, whether that's tablets, whether that's liquid, whether that's salt, it actually, through the UV and the ozone, actually reduces oxidants and bacteria to where overall you're going to need about 50% less chlorine, either salt or tablet, to treat your pool. So HydroPure should be paired, frankly, with any kind of chlorination that you have, whether it's salt or tablet. So we have some great options. Frankly, we're trying to be part of the solution to get people back in their pools in peace of mind that they're swimming in properly treated water.
Do you feel that, and do you hear from customers or wholesalers or distributors that the environmental aspect is compelling to people in a way that kind of, if there wasn't that angle, they would have kind of maybe passed on the whole thing?
Yeah, no, there is no doubt that the world is certainly becoming more environmentally conscious. Mm-hmm. No doubt about that. Homeowners, it matters to homeowners, and not having to store buckets of chlorine tablets, or investing in a variable speed pump, which is 90% more energy efficient than a single speed pump that preceded it. We hear stories every day, frankly, of homeowners demanding, pulling those products. Frequently, they'll cost more up front, just because it's a more highly engineered component that they're buying. But folks understand that the payback after maybe that initial higher price has a great return to them. Folks understand that. And frankly, we try and get that message out in our marketing material and make sure the dealers that are in the backyard every day, understand it and can communicate it word of mouth when they're meeting with their homeowner customers.
And speaking of the single speed pool pumps, talk a little bit about that and how that, it feels like it would be a boost to your side of business.
Yeah, I'm assuming, Rena, you're referring to this other upcoming change, the Department of Energy. Exactly. Yeah, so this has been in the works for a number of years, and we're a huge proponent of it. I think we were a driving force behind getting the Department of Energy to actually make this adoption. So what basically happens is July of this year, there'll be a number of single speed pumps that are non-compliant. They don't meet the energy standard anymore. So with that, I think we're going to see now a more forced, migration to a much more energy efficient type of product. We're actually unveiling a new product called our XE line, which is actually something a little bit more affordable, but every bit as functional as a variable speed. This is going to be a multi-speed, so it's going to have a set number of settings. And what we've found in talking with folks who have variable speeds is, variable is literally, an infinite number of flow settings. With the multi-speed, you have 3 options, and frankly, that satisfies most homeowners. So I think this multi-speed pump, the XE series from Hayward, is going to have great acceptance. It's not yet in production. That's coming later this spring. But yes, we are very, very supportive and very pleased that the DOE has actually signed off on this new energy standard. It's going to be great for the environment. It's going to be great for the homeowner.
Talk to me. I'm curious what your thoughts are as a CEO, like becoming a CEO, becoming a leader of a company. Are there people that you draw from? Are those personal mentors, or are there people in the public marketplace that you look to as kind of a guide or inspiration? And how do you kind of, how you've developed your own personal leadership style?
Yeah, it's a great question. Leadership is a fascinating topic. I've done a lot of reading on it to try and understand the secret sauce. I've had some great mentors in my career. At a young age, I got the advice as you go through your career, have your head up. Be mindful of what you responded well to, and do less of what you didn't respond well to, and model that behavior. And I think that's really been something that I've focused on through my career. Is if I felt if I responded well, then others would respond well as I was trying to lead an organization. So again, great mentorship. I stay in contact with those folks. You never stop learning, even at age 53. You can learn from folks, peers, or folks older than you that you work for. Stay in contact with those folks, and I'm constantly trying to model better behaviors, better leadership styles. So I'm very fortunate to have worked with and for some great folks over my career.
It's interesting hearing you describe that if it works for you, it's probably going to work. It reminds me of something comedy writers say, that if it makes them laugh, it's probably going to make the audience laugh. It's like that.
I've never actually heard that, but I think that's a great parallel.
Yeah, it's a good litmus test to kind of satisfy yourself first and foremost. I'm curious, you said that you've read a lot about leadership. What are some of, do you think, the top books that you've read about leadership?
I'm a big fan of Peter Drucker. It's older, but it's stood the test of time. Blanchard. I think there's a lot of great, these kind of parable books that Lencioni writes. I don't know, he's got 8 or 10 of them out there. They're quick reads. But they're great books. Anytime there's a new one out, I'm buying the hardcover, and I'm ripping through it as quickly as I can, because there's always lessons. The way he tells the stories. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Lencioni's books, but I think they're great, and there's always something to glean from.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Kevin, is there anything that you want to leave investors with before we end the show?
I think we've covered a lot of ground, Rena. I appreciate your interest in Hayward, with us as a company, with us as a new listee. We've been at this for 95 years, but we feel we're very new to the public markets. We know that folks have their eyes wide open, interested to learn the story about who Hayward is, how we're going to keep growing. So, I would encourage anyone listening today, put us on your tracker, and let us prove to you that we're a sound investment, a growing company, and someone that a company that's very responsible from an environmental and an ESG standpoint, and maybe we'll attract some new investors through this time together today.
Absolutely. I hope it does it. I mean, something that we want to do with these conversations, and something that I think we've done with you today, Kevin, is establish kind of what Hayward brings to the market, what you guys have going on, and what you have moving forward. So anybody on Seeking Alpha, enter that ticker, follow along, follow the story. I hope this is just the first conversation that we have and we get to catch up and have the continuing conversation. But I really appreciate you taking the time today and sharing with us everything that you have going on, especially in these busy times. So I really appreciate it, Kevin.
I'd be remiss, Rena, if I didn't actually give the ticker symbol. It's on the New York Stock Exchange.
There you go.
HAYW. So again, I appreciate your interest in our business and loved our time together today.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. HAYW on Seeking Alpha or wherever you search for your tickers.